school principal, foreign language help, administrators, dear fellow students and teachers. Welcome to our very first Gkv Talks. We are here today to make our speeches that we prepared with a great effort. You're going to listen to various topics by different speakers. While listening to these topics, you can find yourself either thinking about dreams or questioning the advantages or disadvantages of the herd mentality. I cannot tell how these speeches will affect you. However, I'm sure that you're going to find out interesting information in each of them. We are a new club as Gkv Talks. We have started our studies this year. Therefore, we are quite excited. Without taking more of your time, I would like to invite the first speaker, Ceren Sığındı from FTN with your applauses.
I'm going to talk about a guest which comes every night while you are sleeping. Dreams have a big place in people's life. They are mysterious, inspirational, and universal. Because of their specialties, people have always wondered them. They wrote books, they shot movies, further, they create occupations to understand it better. It has a big effect on us that might change our emotions, our decisions, and maybe our life. You will understand it better with these examples. 1. Stephanie Meyer, Twilight. She saw a dream one night, then the dream became chapter 13 of the Twilight. 2. Albert Einstein, Theory of Relativity. Einstein saw a dream when he was a young man. He was sledding down from a mountain and he was going so fast. At last, he approached the speed of light. The stars in his dream changed their appearance in relation to him. He woke up and meditated on his idea. Soon, we all know what had happened. He accused empty square. Mary Shelley, Frankenstein. In 1816, Mary Wollstonecraft and Percy Shelley, her future husband, visited the poet Lord Byron in Switzerland. Lord Byron challenged his guests to write their own horror story and shared it next day. Mary went to bed and slept. When she woke up, she wrote a story which inspired from her dream, Frankenstein. You can watch her life story, it's called Mary Shelley. Adolf Hitler, bomb explosion. In 1917, at the time of World War I, Hitler was sleeping. He had a dream. In his dream, he was dirty and he was getting within the mud. He woke up fast with sweat and fear. He got out of the building with the effect of his dream. While he was outside, the building had shut. The Beatles, Yesterday. In 1965, Paul McCartney was at his family home in London. While sleeping, he had a dream. In his dream, the tune was playing. Yesterday, dun, dun. He woke up and started to play the chords, but he was concerned that if it was truly his song. So he took the song to other people in music industry to see if they could associate it with someone else's work. After a while, when no one recognized anything, he felt comfortable. As you see, dreams are interesting, fascinating, miraculous. I'm not telling this because it's my topic, because they are immersed. It has a simple definition as series of thoughts, images, and sensations occurring in a person's mind during sleep. But they are complicated if you look deeply. So let's start with some interesting facts about dreams. Animals, especially mammals, can have dreams too. You can sleep and snore at the same time. Dreams can create deja vu effect. I guess most of you experienced it. Most of the dreams are chasing and kidnapping dreams. And the most important one, our brain is more active while we are sleeping. It would be great if we can use this specialty, right? Actually, some of the people do it. And I will continue with one of them. Lucid dreaming. Well, what is lucid dreaming? It is the ability to be aware of your dreams and control them. They are immersive as your normal dreams. You can feel, you can taste, you can smell, but at the same time, they are flexible. I mean, you can shape whatever you can imagine in a lucid dream. And the best, lucid dreaming is a learnable skill. But before learning it, let's clear the doubts, because I know some of you are still not sure about if it is real or not. In the earlier 1980s, a sleep researcher called Stephen Lavarch made an experiment to scientifically prove that lucid dreams are real. His study, based on an earlier study that had shown our eyes move as we are awake when we are in a REM sleep. Now, when I say close your eyes and move your eyes anywhere you want, I will repeat. When I say close your eyes and move your eyes anywhere you want fast. Okay, now close. Move your eyes anywhere you want fast. Okay, you can open. This is what you do while dreaming. Like this. Rapid eye movement, REM. Stephen thought this is interesting and quite useful because we can use lucid dreamers as research subjects to make a special eye signal in their lucid dreams. He wanted the signal left, right, once when she gets into lucid dream and twice when she is about to wake up. Here is the brain activity of our research subject. You can see the first signal, that means I'm in lucid, and the second, that means I'm about to wake. The experiment worked and lucid dreams proved. Now, let's talk about how to learn it. There are lots of lucid techniques, like for beginners, for professionals, less tired in lucid, longer experience. It's up to your demand. Just choose the proper one for you and follow the steps. You can look up these websites, or you can just watch videos about it. Just try it, because it can help you, as it helps other people to treat nightmares. Think about someone who went to war in past and still dreams about being in war. If he could lucid, he would be able to change the step, to mentally rehearse. You can do rehearsals for your job interview, your role in theater, to declare your love, or just to think. You can think comfortably in your lucid dreams. There are no people, no sound, just you and your thoughts, just like heaven. Just believe the power of your dreams, because they are free and unlimited. Take the grace of your brain. Let yourself to your dreams and be the boss with your lucid dreams. Experience the impossible and practice real life skills. Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite our second speaker, Kutay Atay from F9A, with your applauses.
Hi everyone, like you read on the poster, my name is Kutay and Ceren Atay. And today, I'm going to talk about mob mentality. Well, mob mentality, also called as herd mentality, describes how humans adopt behaviors, buy merchandise, and follow trends based on their circle of influence. It explains how one's point of view can be easily altered by those around them. I know some of you might not understand what I just said, so it basically means when someone's opinion or idea changes yours, but this happens without arguing. Now, before we get into our main topic, I want you to watch a small video about it, so let's jump into it.
Camera experiment to see if this one would stand up at the sound of this tone, simply because everyone else is. You might be thinking you'd never go along with this, or would you? just 3 beats, and without knowing why she's doing it, this woman is now conforming perfectly to the group. But what happens if we take the group away?
Elaine, please.
And now all the actors are gone, and let's see how our patient will react.
Okay, now she's alone. The crowd is gone, and nobody is watching her, except our hidden cameras. What do you think she'll do? She's now conforming to the rules of the group without them even being there. Now, watch what happens when we introduce another outsider who doesn't know the rules.
Have a seat, and they'll be out in just a couple minutes. Thanks so much.
Think she'll teach the new guy what to do? We kept the cameras rolling as more unsuspecting patients arrived. And slowly but surely, what began as a random rule for this woman has now become the social norm for everyone in this waiting room.
They all did the same thing. Most of them didn't even ask why. Maybe it was the first time they had ever seen such an act, but they still did it. I know this seems pretty normal, and it is so, but this doesn't change the fact that this is still about momentality. Your brain always wants you to believe that you're special, and it also wants you to believe that you're not a part of this earth. But you are a part of this earth, and every human being on this planet is. But what makes you special are your feelings. And now, if we get into our main topic, so let's assume that all of your friends and family were jumping off a cliff. In some cases, you will do the same, right? But what if your friends were jumping off a cliff? Because this isn't just about a cliff. It can be about a ton of things like your ideology, your hobby, or things you like, or your electronic devices. So let's be honest. Most of us are buying phones that we don't even know about, right? Can you tell me why you bought it? Some of you have to say no. Maybe your friends told you, or you believe that it's the best, even if you don't have any idea about its features. But we don't blame you for that, because we all did the same thing, and there's actually nothing to be ashamed of. Another example for this is Black Friday. So sometimes people don't even have any idea what they need to buy on Black Friday, so they buy stuff they don't even need because of its price, right? But we don't blame you for that too, because sometimes when you don't buy that useless thing, you can feel kind of upset and worried about it, and if that's the case, there's nothing wrong to buy that useless thing actually. And that's not completely bad. Today, when we talk about mentality, we usually think that it represents the monotonous feeling which evokes the sameness of people. But it is also essential for every living creature to survive. For example, you're a buffalo, and while you're eating your grass, suddenly all of your friends and family started to run. It's probably the best thing to run at this situation, because if you don't, you'll be killed by a wolf. As human beings, we should know that momentality isn't always bad. Yes, it sometimes can change our life in a pretty bad way, but that's not always the case, because it sometimes saves your life too. And if you hadn't followed the herd, or done what they did so far, you would have been living in a much worse scenario right now. But please don't lose your personal opinions by doing these acts. And thank you all for listening. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a day full of good thoughts and good opinions.
third speaker is also from F9A, Ömer Direkçi, with a round of applause.
Hello everyone, my name is Ömer Direkçi, and you came here possibly thinking, a 15-year-old boy talking about one of the most controversial topics, is this actually the case? Well, then let me talk about myself a little bit. I've always been in history and politics. I love reading books about these subject areas. I especially choose this topic because of what I student myself I don't like. I want to change people's minds about minorities, both in the world and in our country. Think about it for a second. That already some countries have made a very positive attitude towards us. So, what should we call domestic problems in our beautiful country? I believe in peace in the country, peace in the world, as Aynur stated. I will talk about minority rights. I'm not standing here to offend anybody, but inform everybody. First, what is a minority? According to dictionaries, a small group in society which is different from the rest because of their race, religion, or political beliefs, or a person who belongs to such a group. So, it's time to ask, what are their rights? They basically have the same rights as a major group. At least it should be like that. Is it like that? We all already answered. It's not unfortunate. But what? You are probably saying. What do you mean when you say they love conditions that are very good? Now let me take you into a journey halfway across the globe. Country of liberty, United States. Or not so far, continent of modernization and civilization, Europe. If you know any bad facts about these countries, you'll notice a big part of the people claim the existence of white supremacy, even though there is not such a thing as supremacy. Before any bad ideas appear in your minds about me, I have to admit, I feel really bad when I say we also have more than enough racist people in our country. Minor groups are more fun, but I wish it wasn't like that. But what if it wasn't like that? What does it change? It actually changes the country's stability, which is arguably the most important subject in the country. Minor groups are more powerful than the major, because they can create a utopia or a dystopia for the country. Or, as Shaman said, peace in our time. You can see this from communities all around the globe. Some be so peaceful, some be so that the country doesn't really stable, there's actually no problem. Or some be so aggressive that host countries are set with the problems. That also improves what I said earlier, what I see on myself, I don't like. Think about it for a second. Countries have minority problems. I mean, their major and minor groups live happily ever after, are actually most peaceful ones. That's why a subject as minority should not exist. Human beings should globalize under one human empire. At least that's what I believe. As the song says, it's the dream that we all share. But how can we realize this dream? It's beginning to happen thanks to the United Nations, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen in the near future. Why? We all know the conflicts that ever happen and continue to happen. So, as I said, it won't be happening in the near future. Ironically, we are the global conflicts. Last but not least, what is our role as citizens? Our role is actually pretty simple. Don't be extremist or racist. Respect every human being. Peace will come eventually. Thanks for listening.
Now, I'm sure you have learned many new things. Let's have a little music break. tears, and all I need is to find somebody. I'll find somebody. And now we're gonna listen to Ada Sal from F9B and her colorful speech.
I'm Ada from 9B, and today I'm going to tell you how colors affect human psychology. You know that there are many colors in our life, and we use colors to express different situations and represent the emotions. So my first color is blue, and blue reminds people sea and sky, and blue has got a relaxing effect, you know. And it's often associated with depth and stability, and dark blue means infinity, authority, and it reflects business world. So people prefer dark blue suits for their formal meetings. Yellow has both positive and both negative effects. Yellow is like a sunshine. You want it to be there to feel good, but you don't want it in your eyes, because it symbolizes desire, jealousy, and deceit. But it also symbolizes happiness and positivity. So my third color is red. People think about how to fire love and aggressiveness. It has an tension and anxiety effect on people, and it's a striking color, you know. And my other color is black. Black lacks of the hope and colors, you know. And black covers everything. Black covers all colors. In funerals all over the world, everybody wearing black clothes because it's symbolizes bad moments or bad events. Green is associated with many concepts, you know, and green is the most comfortable color for eyes, and it increases the vision. And it symbolizes trust, youth, renewal, and hopes. My other color is white. White symbolizes purity, cleanliness, hygienic, and elitism, you know. So brides wear white in their weddings to symbolize cleanness. And this is summer's favorite dress color, you know. Pink. In a prison, researchers painted the walls and window frames in pink. And when we come to the effect, pink plays a calming role on criminals. And it symbolizes love and compassion. My other color is purple. Purple, the color of luxury, money, and many things. It symbolizes peaceful and better imagination. It prevents sleep problems. Light tones of purple, like lavender, lilac colors, can be preferred in study rooms because it has a concentration effect on people. Let's watch a video.
Have you ever wondered why people spend so much time in stores picking out different shades of tone and color? Well, here's why. Different colors can invoke certain emotions and feelings, and the kind of color you choose can have a different impact on the person. Let's take red as an example. Red invokes love, anger, uneasiness, violence, basically intense emotions. Red easily catches people's attention.
It's one of the reasons why stop signs are red.
Green, on the other hand, is a relaxing color and can relieve stress. It's almost always used to symbolize nature, and it's sometimes used to symbolize fertility. Fun fact, the color green is also the easiest color for the human eye to perceive. Blue is a color that invokes calmness and serenity and can lower body temperature and pulse rates. It's often used in office spaces, since it has the ability to make people more productive. However, blue can also invoke sadness or aloofness, hence the term feeling blue. Yellow is a cheery and warm color, and it can also create feelings of frustration and anger. One of the most common representations of the color yellow is the sun. The color itself is the most fatiguing to the human eye, due to the amount of light that's reflected. Purple is a mysterious color. It rarely occurs in nature, and thus can seem exotic or artificial. It's used as a symbol for royalty and wealth, as well as wisdom and spirituality. Orange, being a combination of cheery yellow and intense red, is energetic and brings about feelings of excitement, enthusiasm, and warmth. After all, doesn't a sunset make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside? Artists and interior designers alike have taken these things into consideration as they decide what colors to use and how they use it in conjunction with other colors. Hopefully, this puts the hours your parents spent arguing over different shades of blue in a different perspective.
Thanks for listening and watching.
Our fifth speaker is Şeyma Boşnak, and she's from F9A. With your applauses.
Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about search engines. Now, may I ask you to do something for me? If you use Google Chrome as a search engine, please raise your hands. Thank you. As I guess most of you use Google Chrome as a search engine, and I was also doing the same before researching about this subject. And I think most of you notice Google or less than 3 search engines. So you use Google all the time. But why? Have you ever thought about it? If you don't, let's think about it together. While Google as a search engine is great for everyday research, but it doesn't always provide what I'm looking for. If I have a complex question, like a research question, Wolfram Alpha, which is also a search engine, provides much more complete and better answers. Unlike Google, Wolfram Alpha calls itself a computational knowledge engine. Rather than providing a list of websites that may answer my question, Wolfram Alpha simply answers my question. A while ago, I checked my Google activity, only to be slightly disturbed at the amount of information I found in there. If I wanted to know what I was doing on April 1st of 2017, where I was, and what I researched for that day, all the information were in there. It was creepy. I promptly clicked my Google history and logged out of my account on my phone. Briefly, Google sells your information for money. I'm now Google's rich. And I don't want to make Google richer. So I am in here for changing your ideas about Google. What is privacy? Well, privacy is right to have some control over how your personal information is collected and exchanged by many people. And what is privacy? Well, privacy is right to have some control over how your personal information is collected and exchanged by many people. So I started to make research about which search engine is the safest. Actually, I found a lot of search engines, but I'm going to talk about just one of them. I'm going to talk about DuckDuckGo. Why did I choose DuckDuckGo? Why didn't I choose Start Page or Want? Because I think the safest one is it. And the others are also safe, but it is the best. What is the best for? You share your most intimate secrets with your personal search engine, without even thinking. Medical, financial, and personal information, along with all the things that make you, well, you. So I started to make research about which search engine is the safest. Actually, and now there are some proof why we shouldn't use Google as a search engine, and there are some proof why we should use DuckDuckGo instead of Google. And there you can see how many percentages Google use your personal information. The biggest one is for Google, and the smallest one is for DuckDuckGo. And the users of DuckDuckGo raise this every day. And now you can use DuckDuckGo, or if you don't like DuckDuckGo, you can also make more research about your other options. Thank you for listening.
Now, our sixth speaker is Ecem Karaçurun from F10A with a round of applause.
If I'm traveling to another country, but I don't need to learn different expressions, as Paul Ekman stated. We are all human, so we are all connected in some way, but our most significant connection is our reaction to some feelings. What are these feelings? Happiness, desire, sadness, confusion, fear. We all feel these emotions literally every day, but how do we react to them? Did you notice that we all smile or laugh when we are happy, or that we scream when we are scared? Maybe we are aware of those things, however, we also do so many expressions without noticing. Let's have a look at them. Our eyes can mean more than what we intend to by using various things like eye movements, blinking, and pupil size. As you all know, blinking is natural. However, when people are under stress or if they are lying, they blink rapidly without note. And they also cover, people intend to avert their gaze when they try to hide their real feelings or when they are distracted. On the opposite, they can also stare deeply into your eyes. This simply means they are paying close attention to you. Finally, the pupil size. It can be a very subtle nonverbal communication signal. Sometimes emotions cause small changes in pupil size, like when we feel desire or interest. Our mouth acts in certain ways without our consent as well, like lip biting. This is one of the most common ones. People do that if they are anxious, worried, or nervous. They also cover their mouth when they try to avoid displaying smirks or smiles. Another one is pursed lips. It may indicate disgust, disapproval, or distrust. People also do some gestures with their hands and body. Some of them are really unknown and the others are so common, like a clenched fist. It's a sign of anger. When people are really angry, they clench their fists as if they want to punch the other person. They also raise their arms up when they are extremely happy or when they just want something. There is also something we do mostly, tapping the food. If people are doing that, they could be nervous, anxious, or worried. What happens when you run into a friend, someone you like? You raise your eyebrows briefly, unconsciously. It's a greeting behavior, as if you are saying, hey, I know this person or we have something in common. Humans do it, apes do it, monkeys do it. It means that you're part of the pack, one of the game. So when you try on someone you don't know, they respond. They wonder if they somehow know you. Raising the eyebrow is also one of submissive eye expressions and is done in order to be perceived as less aggressive. It asks for attention from others and can signal general emphasis. So when a question is asked and the eyebrows are raised afterwards, it means it's a clear invitation to answer the question. So why do you think I explain these things to you? Because I believe that by learning our expressions' meanings, we can do so many things. But today I want to mention just one part of it, and that is how can we catch a lie. But first, I have a video for you to watch about it. Who is a retired FBI criminal profiler, a person's voice or mannerisms of speaking may change when they tell a lie. We have an effort to be still. People may keep their movements minimized or even pull their arms and legs in towards their body, mostly as a result of being too tense or nervous. We have a change in the directions. If people are lying, if people look to the left when they are lying, because they may be constructing answers as they speak, and they look at their right when they try to recall a visual memory. So liars also pause a lot as they try to make up a story in their head or to explain their actions using a storyline that really didn't occur at the moment. So now that we learn all these things about our expressions, we can say that the more we learn their meaning, the better we communicate. Therefore, we might avoid misunderstandings and hurting each other's feelings. Thanks for listening.
Our last and senior speaker is Alara Özaslan from Düzenlendi Ivy College.
Hi everybody. So today I'm going to talk about some neurological key factors of success. In life, every journey by itself is a success story, and every success story has some different factors behind it. So today I'm going to talk about 4 of them, because I believe that success doesn't always come with hard work, but it also needs some extra efforts. So the first one is memory and emotion, the second one is craving, third one is discipline, and the fourth one is the role model and the environment. Starting with the first one, the memory always comes with the emotion. If you want a knowledge to be permanent, then you need the emotion with it. So, for example, when you talk about the Pavlov's experiment, the meat in there is the knowledge, and the bell is the emotion. So, if you make the emotion come with the meat. The emotion also means the self and knowledge. Therefore, the knowledge becomes permanent. So when I think about my life and my examples for that, I believe that the knowledge I learned about minimalism, sleep, and healthy eating, they all come from my eager to learn about these topics, and I believe that if I know these topics quite well than a normal person, it is just because of my emotions due to that topic. And also, you see the piano songs I memorized. I can say about these, I always had piano songs, but some of them, like, I don't really memorize them, but I later on understand the reason of it. When I see that the more I like the songs, the process I memorize them is quite much less, so it's quite important for that. The second one is craving. Craving is a desire to something you want to have in your life. For example, an acne-faced boy can say, I want to get rid of that acne, so the person will become much more successful than the normal one because that person has a craving in life, and that libidinal energy can be turned into your studies. And not having a Valentine like that, because, for example, you like someone and you're into someone, and you want to have that person in your life, but the thing is, if you don't have that in your life, then it will turn into a craving to you, which is quite important in life. Again, being short and being asocial is kind of cravings for persons. So the third one is the discipline. For the discipline, I can say the Freud's family, Sigmund Freud, because when you look at their family, I can say the Sigmund Freud was a despot father, therefore he was always making his children to come up to the home at the time or to eat their lunch at time, so it made them to turn into something more disciplined process. Therefore, it caused it to become much more disciplined children. And the Anna Freud always says, you know, like, we had so much hard times while growing up, but we just thank our father just because of the discipline he gave. So again, when I think about my life, I think one of them was my father, and my father, he was always doing the laundry when my mother was not at home, so I learned the discipline from him, because as I sat in here, the teachers and the parents are the ones who will give the discipline to the children itself, so it's quite important. They need to be both a role model and a discipline example for the students and the children. The first one is the role model and the environment. For example, you spend so much time on WhatsApp, then your brain becomes into WhatsApp. Or you gossip too much, then your brain turns into a gossip box. And what I say is that from my life, me and my father, we were always talking about science and physics because he was a physics teacher, and I believe as we talked by through the years, I am more into science than I normally am. Again, another example from my life is, for example, I had so many doctors around me as the children of our relatives and stuff. So I saw so much doctors in me, and they were so good people. So I don't know, maybe it's a result of that, but doctors are quite important for me. And I want to be a doctor soon, so I think it affected it too much. So, to sum up, a copy of environment is the memory itself, because when you talk about something quite much and you spend so much time on it, then your brain becomes into that. So we must be careful while spending our time and doing the other things. And the 4 key factors of success, I can say the memory and the emotion. The second one is craving, discipline, and the role models in the environment. So the thing is, these changes are in our daily lives are transferred genetically. Therefore, we must be careful while doing our studies and jobs, because when we spend quite much time on different things, these changes will be transferred to our children, which is quite important, I guess. So what I will say is, while we were preparing our topics and the speeches to our show, we applied these rules. For example, to start with the first one, we chose our topics by ourselves, with our hearts, which made us to memorize it quite much easier. And the second one is the craving. Everybody has special cravings, so I cannot share them with you. The third one is the discipline. We had our studies and the times, and we tried to do our best while we were studying to that, and with the eagerness to have this show today. And the fourth one is the role models in the environment. I can say our teacher, Aynur teacher, is our example and the role model. And I believe I was an example to them, because I was the speaking coach of them. So I would like to thank all of them today, and I think this is all. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for coming here today and listening to us. We hope you enjoyed and learned what our friends are passionate about. By the way, it's not over yet. We will close our program with a little more music. Enjoy. flowers to our beloved teachers, Aynur Şavklıyıldız and Bahar Bilimoğlu.
Biraz dönebilir miyim?